Warning, this podcast was produced by two men who still think that swearing is both big and clever. As a result, it contains quite a lot of it. Therefore, this podcast is not suitable for children, unless they're really fucking cool children. Yes, people, Dave Fensom here with another episode of Pop Collaborate and Listen. As always, I am joined by the main man, Mr. Krista Greer.
What's up, everyone?
Yeah, this is another special episode. If you only like the regular episodes, I'm sorry. We've been a little self-indulgent of late.
That's fair.
This is an album that we both have a special place in our heart for. We decided it was worthy of a special episode, particularly as probably it's not something that loads and loads of podcasts would cover. So, Mr. Chris Greer, what is it?
We are doing Censor's debut album, Stacked Up.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, no, obviously, like you say, this is a special one. We're doing it even though it didn't get to number one.
Yeah.
But it did get to number 4.
Which is mad, actually.
Really mad. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Because even if you look at the singles that they released, and they released 4 singles, but 5 songs. One was a double A-side. So 4 actual single releases. First one didn't chart at all.
Nope.
And none of the other ones got higher than number 39 in the charts.
But what they did do, and it's the point where I came into them, is they sat and got played in indie clubs across the country, week in, week out.
Absolutely, they did, yeah.
So tell me how you found out about Censor.
My first thing, I saw, it was on the chart show, one of the Saturday morning chart shows, whenever they did the indie chart, which is always a treat. You know, sometimes you go, what's it going to be? It's the dance chart. Can't give a shit.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Rock chart.
Rock chart was always fun. But yeah, they did the indie chart and Censor because they were on Ultimate at the time, so it's indie. I mean, that's the other thing about the indie chart. Sometimes it'd be number 1, Erasure, because it was on mute.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, this isn't the pop charts.
Yeah.
But anyway, Censor were big noise on that. They sold really well in the indie charts.
Yeah.
And their first single, Eject, went to number 1 in the indie chart. So it was a big deal. And so I saw them there, and I just went, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
This is amazing. It was just literally instantly blew me away. I still have a recording of the video. I taped off TV, because whenever it was hard to find stuff, and so I had a videotape which was just like for music, and I would have it if I was watching The Word or watching the chart show, I'd have it ready to go in case something came on. And so whenever Censor came on,
I had one of those as well. I had like an NWA video on there. I had the Justify My Love video on there. The often paused Justify My Love video. Yeah, I mean, I didn't see it on the chart show. The first time I ever went to the club, which is ironically called the Switch Club in Luton. Yes. First time I walked into this club, I kind of discovered all the good stuff about being in an early 90s dirty, grotty indie club. I heard like Credit to the Nation.
Of course,
with the Nirvana riff, and that kind of blew my mind a little bit. But I kind of even then was like, okay, this is a gimmick.
Sure.
But then, someone played Eject, and Jesus Christ, man. I remember being like, what's this? And someone said, it's Censor. Right. And just trying to find this song for ages, couldn't find it, because once stuff was out of the charts in singles back in the day, you just kind of couldn't find it. And I just loved it, and every time it came on I would dance my arse off. And it's one of those songs I kind of got to know the lyrics of this song from only ever hearing it like once a week in a club.
Oh, in a club, or you have to pick it up. I mean, I suspect with a lot of these songs, especially the singles, especially where I was hearing it in clubs, I know the lyrics. I say I know 90% of the lyrics.
Yeah.
And the other 10% are absolute mumbling.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the thing is Hatham has got a lot of lyrics.
He really does, as we will find out through all of this.
Yes, indeed.
I mean, the thing is as well, at that time, so the first single came out in April of 93. The album didn't come out until May of 1994. Yeah. So there's a couple of singles in the run-up, and then they did the album. And in that time, they were doing the touring circuit. They were playing festivals. They played, in fact, they played Glastonbury in '92 first of all, which apparently got them quite a bit of attention. They also toured with the Ozric Tentacles at that time. Then they played Reading in 1993. So that was after the first single came out, and already they were labelled as special guests.
Sure.
They only had like that one single, but they were already special guests censor in between Credit to the Nation and Swerve Driver. So they're that sort of level, fine. Sure. But by 1994, they were playing the Reading main stage halfway through the day between Afghan Wigs and Rollins Band. So, there was a pretty firm ascension going on with the band. People were very interested in them. They got a load of good press, and they toured relentlessly. They did a load of those shows. They were an exciting live band, so people really were into them.
They certainly were. So let's start, as we always do, with the album cover.
Album cover, okay. I've got the double vinyl, and it is so stacked up there. It is. I mean, I think it's a bit of a rubbish cover.
I do. It's like a hand of an X-ray. You got some barbed wire along the top, some kind of clouds,
I guess,
smoke. I don't know. Yeah. I've never really been entirely sure on what they're trying to say. Obviously, there's some psychedelic stuff that runs through some of the lyrics. There's kind of political polemic in there. As an image, it's not uninteresting per se, but I just don't think it's necessarily as strong. You got the eject 12-inch there, which is kind of a lot more kind of street arty, and
graffiti style.
Yeah, and again, maybe that's aged a little bit more, but I prefer the style of that. For example.
Yeah, no, the front cover of the album, it looks to me like there are 5 different ideas going on, and they've just kind of gone, well, we're going to do that. But it also looks a bit amateurly done. It looks very
I mean, there's like some stuff there, like the logo. Just if you look at the color choices, you got that kind of dark red on that dark blue. The logo doesn't really pop out very well.
That barbed wire that they've done almost in clip art style.
Yeah.
It looks like someone's fucked that up. And
it looks like someone's got a henna tattoo on their album cover.
It absolutely is, yeah.
But, and also, the thing that does kind of fuck it up a little bit more is the font that they used to say stacked up in is pretty much the one that they ended up using in that you wouldn't steal a house.
You wouldn't download a handbag.
Yeah, so it gives it a little bit of a kind of anti-pirate DVD kind of. My favourite thing about those adverts is that when you bought a pirate DVD, like from some dodgy bloke, that they generally still have that advert on it.
Well,
anyway,
right, edit it out. Also, just for anyone who doesn't really know Censor, first of all, you probably wouldn't be listening to this episode if you don't. Censor, they were like a 7-piece band.
Yes.
Okay, and so they started back in like 87, 88 as a smaller sort of collective, and expanded out. They got new members, and they changed their style as that went on, because back in the late 80s, I think they were more, like I say, they supported Ozric Tentacles.
Yeah.
Right? I think they were more sort of that. They were playing a lot of squat parties, they were doing the free festivals, a lot of protest stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely feel that kind of that new age kind of festival, kind of dubby influence there. So obviously, I mean, I understand that. I was a lot of free parties around the kind of early 90s, mid 90s, and there was a lot of fun in that thing. But then obviously they got the new lead singer. Well, they brought a singer in, Haytham Al Saeed.
Exactly. He joined in 1991. And he joined initially just as their percussionist, but he wanted to do more of the rapping stuff.
Yeah.
And the previous main vocalist, who's Kirsten, the woman, Kirsten Haig, she was all fine with that. She was like, yes, this is a good idea. This is going to work. It adds another dimension. And so they expanded their breadth of what they were about. And it feels like it did become that Haytham was more of the focal point at the end of that journey. And by the time this came out...
I think that's kind of evidenced by the fact that obviously after this record, they kind of imploded a little bit. So by the time the second record came out, you were back to just Kirsten on vocals.
Indeed, yes.
And and a lot of people, I think, made the same decision that I did, which was that was less interesting.
Oh, totally. The things I like about Censor, or liked most about Censor, were Haytham and his style and his vocals. The scratching, the DJ, and the drums. I think the drums are brilliant.
Yeah.
So there's 7 people involved here. So we've got 2 vocals, we've got a drummer, guitarist, bass player, DJ, and we also have Haggis, who produced the album, on live kind of samples and live
production,
vibes. That sort of stuff.
So, and kind of making sure that everything hangs together at a degree as well.
I think so, yeah, absolutely. And I found out one thing. The DJ, he's called Andy Clinton, or known as DJ All. Apparently, and I read this somewhere and did no further fact-checking just because it's a good fact and I don't want it to be proven wrong. Apparently, at one time, he had the national high score in asteroids.
I hope that's true.
Isn't that a good fact?
I hope that's true.
That's a good fact.
He was a DJ from the Spiral Tribe.
Yes, he was. Absolutely. Yeah. And he's really good. I mean, I think. Well, as we go through this, I'm going to be commenting on like a lot of the scratching. I get it.
Cool. So, right. Well, let's. I should say we've because this is a special episode and we don't have like charts and stuff like that in there. We have reached out to a couple of podcasting mates, so we've got some bits just so we can edit together and break it up from the monotony of our fucking shit voices.
Yeah. So we might just we'll hear from some different people and their recollections of this album as well.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's kick things off, man. First track is called States of Mind.
Lovely. All right, so track 1 here. And this one isn't a single.
No.
Right? And so by the point that this album comes out, I have heard 4 songs off the album because they've been released as on singles.
Yeah.
But
5, maybe.
No, because one came out after.
Oh, was it Switch came out or Age
No,
of Panic?
Age of Panic came out after.
Right.
So I went into this and I was surprised at them not having a single as the first track.
Listen to this, though, man.
Yeah. And also I was surprised that they went in, like, they're not coming straight in with some vocal polemic. They're kind of building and building. That's some Public Enemy, that's some Black Steel.
This is, 100%, that's what I've got here, that's my note.
Yeah.
This is pure Bomb Squad production. That sounds like Black Steel in the Hour of Chaos.
Absolutely.
And then here we get the this kind of Kirsten's vocal just adds a little bit of humanity.
Oh, sure. And it's not in the foreground, it's in the back, so it's part of the instrumentation, building and swirling up there. This, to me, is the sort of thing. I mean, I don't remember, but I suspect they opened their sets with this a lot. Because this is... Imagine that, the stage is dark, this shit starts happening, people are starting to play, and it's building, and the audience is just fucking getting riled up. Come on. This is wonderful. This is a real... This is the perfect way to begin an album.
Absolutely. What an intro.
Just keep going off. And... Again, I am thinking, all right, where's the rest of it?
Yeah.
Where's the rest of it? Surely this isn't just they're going to do this and then I'll hear a new song. But yeah, the part of this song, we're now a minute 45 into this.
And then we go. Here we go.
Yeah, fucking what?
Yeah, Haytham's mad laughing. I love how thrashy the riffs are.
Oh, it's incredible.
Well,
yeah.
So look, Haytham's got that. Like, even by the time this has come out, his style is almost a little bit dated in a weird way because he's got that kind of late 80s, early 90s flavor, like Chuck D, Rakim are touchstones. But you can also hear like the UK in there. You can hear the hard noise stuff. You can hear Gunshot.
They were huge Gunshot fans. Yeah. They brought Gunshot on tour with them. Yeah.
Time to change your state of mind. But it's just like, that's you're talking about that in hip hop terms. But in terms of just how the impact of how this hits and that syncopation on that kind of fast riff, it's fucking perfect for this tune.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Absolutely perfect for it.
It really is. And they have said in interviews, or Haytham definitely has said, that because they were massive fans of stuff like Gunshot and Public Enemy, what they wanted to do was to do Bomb Squad style sound, but with live instruments. Yeah. And they have absolutely achieved it, if you ask me, because it's like they're not in a studio using samples to make this noise. They're doing this in a studio on instruments, and it's fucking huge.
Nothing, get back in line, and if you don't like that, then it's just fine. Yeah, see, Kirsten rap that much, I quite like it.
No, totally, that's the thing. Usually, I thought she was kind of overshadowed in the whole album, because she's always a little bit in the background or doing the kind of the, oh. This is a great verse.
Yeah.
This is a terrific verse.
I mean, Haytham's a brilliant instrument. In terms of his lyrics, right? There are so many lyrics of his that I love. And then every now and again he'll just drop an absolute clunker. Oh. But it's like there's so many
wonderful.
of them.
Exactly, and I love every one of them. And I've made a note of some as we go through. I've got some of my favourites I will point out.
But like in this one, just the start of this where it's like sad diversion, tedious excursion, roll into unrealistic, Christopheristic, comedy doctrine, rockabalistics. Like, and it's just fucking cool shit, man.
Yeah.
But then he's also got Here Comes a Strange Injection. They've got a drug to numb my erection. But it all works in context. It all works in context.
Yeah.
I think this is a great like statement of intent.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, this reminds me as well of like Their Law. Whenever Prodigy and Public itself started with Their Law, that really crunchy guitar. I mean, obviously there's more dance elements on the Prodigy one, but it just that guitar line reminds me of this. The guitarist is a guy called Nick Michelson, and he has said, because obviously we'll hear as we go through that every time there's a massive guitar riff, you're like, that's pure metal, and he was into Slayer and Anthrax.
And it's not just pure metal; it's pure like thrash.
Oh yeah,
metal.
he's also talked about like fucking Celtic frost and stuff.
Yeah.
So no, he really likes that sort of shit, which is perfect. So there's track 1, and then
brilliant.
Track 2, we're changing it up.
Okay, this one's called The Key.
Yes,
a lot more mellow, and we're going to hear a first kind of bit of what you'll hear quite a bit through this, which is this kind of more dubby kind of bass sound, very rounded, kind of reggae infused, kind of harking into the sound system-y kind of roots.
Sure, absolutely, yeah. And this was their second single, but it was the first one that made the top 75.
Yeah, this was like a double A side, wasn't it? It was this and No Comply. I had this one. This is the one that came out after I knew who they were, so I could buy it on CD single.
Oh, sure, okay, right, yeah. So this was like a double A. Came out September '93, and it got 47.
Yeah.
So fine, 47. Yeah. But I loved this when it came out. It was instantly. I had been interested after I heard the first single, Eject, and I was waiting for what was next. And to be honest, they could have done something like State of Mind or one of the heavier ones, and I would have been perfectly fine with it. But they came back with this. I was like, fucking hell.
Well, I think this shows like another kind of string to the bow. In there. This is one of the this is kind of a psychedelic experience musically and lyrically on this one. He's, Haytham's kind of articulating what is, most likely a drug experience.
Maybe.
And I think this is the most successful version of them in this non-confrontational mode that they do.
Yeah, okay.
It's still got a big break in it. It's got this really layered production that you like here, and there's a riff that comes in before the outro in a little while,
which is wonderful.
It's just fucking wonderful. This walks the right side of this kind of dubby kind of path for me, because it's still essentially got a big song in it as well.
Oh yeah, no, it's a big hook. That bass line is a great, funky bass line. It's not just spaced out and what I would consider a lot of dub to be a bit dull. Yeah. Now this is still driving.
And you got Haytham on the pace of the beat as well.
Oh sure.
Because you kind of got this. You got the kind of languid kind of bass and pace behind it that kind of comes to the dub, but he's kind of almost double pacing that and kind of keeping the track alive. And you've got that little guitar kind of coming through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is brilliant.
I think it's I mean, I get more out of it that it's almost like an ode to music and the power of music. Lyrics and hip hop. He talks about his words becoming the key that unlocks stuff, the power and the energy within that. And there are some classic hip hop tropes that he's putting in there. He's got the lots of scratching and breakdown. He's got some of the classic samples that are being scratched, like just in here. It's like that's just classic hip hop stuff. But it's not that they've tried to do a straight down the line hip hop soon, because it's still so big and warm and live and all of that sort of stuff. So it's not like a pastiche or a tribute either. It works because it's their thing.
Sure.
Like this is what they do.
This is obviously. Well, I can't actually try and remember the chronology, but there's quite a lot. You hear this and you go, this could almost be on the Shadow album. This could almost be on Introducing.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I think Shadow would have been 95, was it?
Yeah, something like that.
Coming through.
But you hear what I mean? Like if you heard this and someone went to you, never heard this before. You went, who's this? Your first answer might be, oh, sounds like
something on that. Yeah. It could be. This could be a Mo Wax tune for sure. I do think. And I have a recollection. This is only, one of those memories that I can't remember properly. I went and saw Censor when they reformed in about 2005 or 6, and I saw them at the London Underworld. And I think it was during this song, because it was one of the more laid-back ones, where I was looking at the stage, and it was the original lineup back for the first time.
Yeah.
And everyone was in garb that you'd go, yeah, that's fucking Censor. That's Haytham. He's still looking the same. The person's still doing the kind of the bit weird hippie stuff. Everyone looked like they hadn't moved an inch from this, except for the bass player, who looked like he might have just stepped out of a bank job.
Brilliant.
He was in, a nice.
You mean a job at a bank or doing a bank job?
A job at a bank.
Yeah.
He properly ironed jeans. This riff, though.
That riff, man.
Yeah, but he looked like he was having he was blasted. He was really enjoying it. But he looked like maybe his mum had ironed his shirt.
Like these days, he was smashing the system from the inside.
Exactly,
yeah. Fair enough. Brilliant, man.
Yeah, no, this is so good. When this riff comes in and it all kind of kicks off, this is a fantastic outro, and I haven't even minded the fact that we've had probably a minute of just sort of noodling. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And usually I'd be like, come on, skip this.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've got more tolerance for that, but yeah, you're definitely a very much fucking.
Yeah, no, I'm all good. This is. How long is this song, actually? Let's have a look. This is 5 minutes 20.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like it's gone on too long, even though there is a lot of just, just bring
touch the other side. Come on.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
yeah.
man,
Brilliant.
absolutely brilliant. Yeah. So that's the first single we've seen off the album, and I remember listening to the album and loving it for the whole thing. I loved the whole thing at the time, but listening to it on this kind of go through, I'm like, yeah, this is solid. First two absolute bangers straight away.
And then number three,
right?
Number three is another single.
Yes,
and this one
is
ubiquitous switch.
Absolutely,
big scratch at the front.
Yeah, and this was the single that came out just before the album. This was out in March of 1994, and it's the highest charting one. Got to number 39.
Boom bap beat.
Yeah. This is the only song on the album that has any samples in it, like a proper sample. Right. It's not just scratched in. That beat is A New Day by Skull Snaps, and this is UFO by ESG in the background as well. But yeah, so we got Kirsten building.
Down, don't fall.
Oh, I'm coming back from the funky bass.
Yeah,
fucking fantastic.
So this is great, man. Like from the flow point of view, this one is very much the most basic flow on the record.
Oh, right, okay.
He's very much on beat, 4/4/4, and as a result, when you analyse the lyrics are a little bit clunky in this, right?
Right.
When you take them apart, but it just doesn't fucking matter because they're delivered with this straight ahead clarity and authority. Right?
Yeah.
And there's some. I mean, this one. I mean, we're both going to have the same lyric on this one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We are.
There's mention of a posse, right? Yeah. There shouldn't be a mention of a posse. There are two mentions of posses in this, and I'll forgive one, and the one in Eject I'm going to let you have because it's fucking great, right? But you shouldn't say your posse has a spirit, but it's fine, right? It was 1992, it's fine. But yeah, the lyric of the.
We've just had the one about, which I actually enjoy, the mamas in a basement kicking up rocks, daddies in Wandsworth sitting in a box.
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant
which is good, that's good. But I remember at the time going, Wandsworth sitting in a box? I didn't know it was a prison.
I did.
What? Right, so yeah, it's kind of stuck out to me. But yeah, but there's a bit coming up that both of us are going to go, yeah, that's an absolute rotter.
But this song is just, it's just built to bounce around a sticky floored rock club or to sing along to in a field. This is just a great, just kind of, it's just relentless on each beat. Each one of those kicks is like fuck, bang, bang, bang. It's so good, man.
Oh, sure. But it's also, there's a real menace to this. It's dark, it's broody, it's there's a sort of a violent, oh, here we go.
To the bottom like a fucked up boat. Brilliant.
Yeah. Wow. There you go. That's exactly. When all the gun talk shit that you wrote, it don't float. It sinks to the bottom like a fucked up boat.
I love that lyric.
I mean, it's terrible, but I will never allow that to be changed.
Yeah. I love that lyric, man. This is another brilliant track, man.
This is. I can see why this was a single, like you say. It's a perfect one for a club. It's half time. It's not their really aggro stuff, but if you're picking stuff out which you want to show all of your aspects, This is
if you want to bounce around with a pint of cider and black in your hand, this is the track you want to do it to.
Do you want Hytham and his Raga Patois?
No, I don't.
There's a little bit of that there.
Now is not the time to discuss it. The time will come later.
Absolutely, there will. Yeah.
But, I mean, the interesting thing is, obviously, Censor by anyone's standards of the day, they were the anarcho-progressives.
Sure.
And the interesting thing about the nature of being a progressive, right, is that if you get viewed through the sphere of progressives 30 years later, you're likely to be...
There'll be something.
Well, it's not even to be something, there'll be loads of... But, that's the way it should be, because if you're a progression and 30 years, you're still progressing the same things, you fucking failed, right? Fair. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
But, I think, we have to be even-handed. We gave Donnie Wahlberg quite a hard time.
We certainly did.
And, Hytham is
he's half Saudi, so...
Well, that's not the same thing, is it?
No, but...
And it's racist to say it is.
Oh, man.
You're bigger. Anyway.
One thing I did do, as well as listening to the album for this, I watched the videos that they made for all of the singles.
Oh, yeah, I did. I watched Eject.
Oh, right, okay. They're fucking dreadful. These videos, they were made for a budget of a tenner, obviously, and they are some of the most amateur videos you'll ever see. And this one,
all the better for it. All the better.
I'm absolutely fine with it, and I don't know what they would have done with the budget. I don't know what videos they would have come up with. But the video for this falls a little bit flat. But then I also watched a live version that they did on the Word of this, and it just kicks your face off. Yeah, it's so good that.
Fucking brilliant.
Yeah, in that the DJ's wearing a Gunshot t-shirt. I think the bassist wearing a Tool t-shirt. They're showing all their influences on that, and again, Hytham's fucking top off, going absolutely mental at the front. It's wonderful.
Hytham's fucking great front man.
Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely.
And he went on after this to a band called Lodestar, short-lived, one album. But I loved that Lodestar album.
I never even sought it out.
Oh, it's fucking amazing. Yeah. It's very much. I know there's some place to talk about it actually a little bit better, but it's a great record though. I really, really like it. It's even more of a lost record than this one.
Oh no, definitely. I mean, this was number 4 in the charts, so
Hello everyone. Yes, it's the guys from the True Cult Pop podcast. It's me, Stephen Hill. It's him, Gaz Jones. How you doing, Gaz?
Hey there. Get to talk about the 90s for a couple of minutes.
I know. What a challenge that will be. Thanks very much to Dave and Krista for asking us to give our thoughts on Censor's Stacked Up album, which I believe is, 29 years old now, isn't it? It's absolutely mad.
Come out at the start of May 1994.
1994, got to number 4 in UK charts. Crazy.
Mental times, man.
It's a different time. It was a better time. Now, Gaz, when you think about this album, where does it take you back to?
Doing really badly at my GCSEs, discovering alcohol. I mean, I first came across Censor in my most 90s and musical education programs. It was them on the Word, doing Switch. And I was just like, I remember buying a single to that. Bought the album on vinyl. I was banging into kind of, Pop Will Eat Itself, Ozzy at Tentacles, all, Faith No More, Prodigy, all that kind of like mash-up stuff with the Grebo stuff and all that. So this just seemed like a perfect fit into that, really. I mean, Steve, I've got a question for you. Is this the best UK rap metal album of all time?
Oh, well, I tell you what, 1 minute silence would have something to say about that, I'm sure. Not that I'd listen, because they weren't very good. But I think it is. I think Man Break would be another one. It's not exactly a crowded field, is it? It's, as in the words of Stuart Lee, it's like being the tallest dwarf. But but this is good. I mean, this album takes me back. It takes me back all the way to the 13th of September 2023, which is the first time I listened to it in full, to be perfectly honest with you. Because by the time I'd got into Censor, they had sort of splintered in half. And so, it was in the years in the aftermath when I heard songs like, Switch, The Key, but mostly Age of Panic. Yeah, Age of Panic's the one. Banger. So I've never listened to this album from beginning to end until yesterday, and I think it's absolutely excellent. I agreed to do this because I knew you'd have an opinion on it. It has dated a little bit, definitely. It has dated a little bit. Yeah. Like, it sounds very, very 90s, but I'm really, really impressed with just so many things on this record. I'm really impressed with the sort of how fat the production sounds, how kind of, beautifully reminiscent of this time period it was, and how I would never have gone, British rap metal, what a good thing. Collapse Lung, I suppose, are another one, aren't they? Manbreak, 1 Minute Silence. Apart from that, there's you get to like Number One Sun and Vacant Stare, and nobody needs that in your life, do you, at all? No. Absolutely not. So look, and when it gets to all the kind of the reggae stuff and some of the more psychedelic stuff, this is a really, really good album, and it's quite silly of me to have spent my whole life not actually listening to it, but I do. There are a few songs in it that I have just plucked out from nowhere, and I've listened to over the years, but this is really good. It was a bit of a blind spot for me, but I'm glad that I've listened to it now. It's great.
It's kind of a shame that obviously this. I mean, if this came out a couple of years beforehand, I think it would have probably been a lot bigger. Probably had more of a legacy. But obviously by 1994, you'd had Park Life by this point. Definitely Made was just around the corner. Britpop was getting fucking huge, and Grebo was just getting kicked to the floor. That was a thing once gone. Neds and Pop Will Eat Itself and all these kind of bands. Dead in the water. It's a bit of a shame, but I think history has been kind of incredibly kind to this album, and I think it is a bit of a lost nugget from a fantastic era for rock and alternative music.
Yeah, it's really good. It's a shame. I mean, I do remember the kind of follow-up album which doesn't have Hytem, the lead vocalist who went and did Lodestar. Do you remember them? Lodestar. I want to say it like Dark Helmet in Spaceballs. Yeah. Lodestar! But I wasn't mad keen on Lodestar, and hence why I kind of just dipped in and out of Sense. I think Sense were quite different at that point. More of a bully rag man.
There he is.
There he is. But yeah, this is very good. This is very good. I wish I had some kind of excellent story from the 90s to go along with it, but I'm going to defer to you. You must have one.
Well, I actually saw them the week of the when the album came out. I saw them playing Cambridge on the tour. I think it was 2 or 3 days after the album came out. It was it would have been. It was. I've got it down here. I think it was Wednesday, May the 4th, Star Wars Day. The a venue in Cambridge called the Junction. It was fucking heaving. It was hotter than hell. I came out from the pit. I had no t-shirt. I missed the last bus home. Had to ring Mother Dearest. Good times, eh?
Did you get a shirt to put on? Did you have to sort of stand in the shirt?
No, because I foolishly didn't take along any money with me, so I was like half naked, sweaty in jeans. I only had my A-level curtains to keep me warm. Well,
it's a nightmarish image that we've conjured up for you there, but thanks very much for inviting us on, guys. Appreciate that, and that's our thoughts on this album.
Being a little bit dismissive there about Lodestar, Stephen. I think if you went back and listened to that now, you would find it such a very good album. So fuck you. Anyway,
okay. Well, we're moving into the next song, which is another single. So
this is, as you said, this is the single that came out after the album was released.
Yeah. So I guess this was one where we had heard all of the songs. Apart from the track one, we'd heard all the songs so far before the album came out.
Yeah.
And then this was the first one that like, oh, this is new, and I think I pretty much instantly went, this is fucking right.
Oh, fuck
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Age of Panic.
Yeah. Big, wobbly electronic sounds.
Yeah. We should also say that this isn't the single version.
No.
Because the single version has a much more guitar on it. It's called the Guitarama mix. And
I want to ask you something, actually, because I had a message from Cliff about Ejects, but we'll get to that in a bit.
Right, sure.
Yeah, so here we go, man. Just laying down the rhythm there. And the guitar just starts going off.
There he is. He's like screaming in the background.
It's just like a solo all the way through.
Yeah.
Scytham just smashing it out here, man.
Yeah.
You got this fucking, again, it's fucking menacing, man.
Sure.
It's like the intro to The Equalizer.
Oh, well. If we're putting it on a chart of 1 to 10.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and this only got to number 52, this single. Fuck's sake.
Yeah, that's nuts.
What's wrong with the British public? Yeah.
That's because everyone was buying the album.
Well, maybe so. Yeah, maybe so. But yeah, in my head, as soon as this and I think as soon as the album came out, this track was getting played in the clubs I was going to. So it was like people were looking for other ones to put on, and this was an easy option.
Oh, of course, man.
But then whenever the single version did come out, and in a bit I'll play like the intro of the single version because it's even fucking rougher. This is just perfect for a rock club dance floor.
This is fucking brilliant. The doom behind this chorus, man.
Yeah.
in with Kirsten. This is kind of like big vocal line. It just breaks it up. And this is the thing about Sensor. When they're in balance, and it is like balancing the humours with that band.
Right,
there's so many influences in there. When they catch it, and it's like lightning in a bottle, it's the best.
Sure.
It's the best. It's it's like Faith No More. It's like that all the influences just slightly in disharmony, but you catch that moment, you catch it together, and it's fucking brilliant. And when one of those humours goes out of check, it gets less good.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, but this one you would say everything works.
Everything, man. This is look, man. We're 4 for 4 at the minute. 4 absolutely nailed on,
storming,
brilliant tracks. It's like as good as the first 4 tracks of any album you can name. Yep. Essentially.
Yep. That's brilliant. You were saying Faith No More there. I've read a couple of interviews where Haytham was saying, back in the day, they were kind of originally. Someone would say to him, people said you were like the UK Rage Against the Machine. What do you think about that? And he's like, we didn't think about that at all. We were writing this stuff before we heard any Rage Against the Machine, but then they put their album out in '92.
Yeah.
And he says he did hear it and go, oh fuck, they've nailed this. This is like the perfect album.
Yeah.
But he also then says that he listened to Angel Dust, and he went, this is the biggest step forward in a band that he could remember, He just went, this is fucking incredible, because he loved the real thing, but then heard Angel Dust and went, oh man, this is so good. And there's no point in trying to compare. He's like, he didn't want to just give up because people were going, oh, aren't you just this? He's like, no, we are different. We are more than that. We are, our own thing. And so they were like, fuck it, we just do our own thing. And I think that's perfect, because this is not Rage Against the Machine, this is not Faith No More. As we will see, there are a lot of different facets that neither of those bands would do.
Absolutely.
This one, I would happily see this on the Judgment Night soundtrack along everything else.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a brilliant track. It's in one of the most metal ones, not the most metal one.
Yeah.
That's still to come.
Bit of a breakdown.
But yeah, the breakdown, levy breaking.
And lyrically, I mean, it's Age of Panic, and he said that it's about how people are having to, work and stress. Life is crazy, and your bosses are reaping the rewards for your labour and all this sort of stuff, which is frankly still exactly the same today.
It's an exponential slide downwards.
Well, this is
it's
it.
Always going to get worse.
Imagine thinking, right, in '94 that this is the age of panic, and this is pre-internet.
Yeah,
everything's just got faster and faster and faster and more manic. And you have to, run to stand still. And
we've got more billionaires than we ever had.
Well, indeed. Hurrah.
Sure. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So we just had the album version of that. But when they did release it as a single, the version that was on there is the Guitarama mix, which is just, again, by Censor. It's not like a remix by somebody else. But they have just properly amped up the guitar. So if you listen to the intro of this, there isn't the kind of the tinkly bit at the beginning. It's straight in with that, it's just fucking already heavy shit. And I remember when this came out and this was the version that got played, it's like, fucking, this took my head off. I think this is the superior version on there.
I don't remember this.
Oh, mate. I mean, once it gets into it, it's almost the same, because it gets heavy in the album version, but it just starts off so much heavier in the single one, and it's wonderful shit.
I really like the electronic noise, though.
No, fine, yeah, but I love the heaviness of this. And also on the 12-inch track that got there, there's a Gunshot remix, which is really good, and then it's their version of the Beastie Boys looking down the barrel of a gun.
Yeah. I mean, I remember their cover of that as well. I remember being like, oh yeah, the cover of the Beastie Boys, amazing, right, wicked.
But yeah, no, I love that version, but I get why, it was much more of a club track, I guess, the single version. Right,
so let's do this next one. This one's track number 5 again, not a single, very much an album track. This one's called What's Going On.
Okay.
And here we are with a Slayer riff, man. This sounds like Channel Zero.
Oh yeah, I mean, they covered Channel Zero as one of their B-sides.
Hang on.
Makes sense.
And for some reason, a flute.
There we go.
And I say and for some reason, it's because Kirsten plays the flute.
Exactly. And I'm going to guarantee you that in 1988, there were a lot more flute.
hard as fuck this
It's
is,
an
man.
amazing riff.
Oh my god, it's so fucking
Huge.
good. You hear like Kirsten just like being faded in, faded out, just
Yeah.
there, and it's just that little touch of flavour that separates it from everything else, man. Fucking little pace change there.
Yep. And those
Oh,
drums
my
as well.
God.
That, I mean, I think it's John on the drums.
Yeah.
Fucking
John Danger
blinding.
or something, isn't it?
It's so good, man.
But look, man, the dynamics of this song are fucking. Somebody tell me. This is one of the best, like kind of vocal break, kind of like melodic vocals on this
Okay,
record.
right. But this is the thing, like you were saying in that first track, Kirsten doesn't often do some actual word singing. She does throughout, but there's a lot of time where she's just making sort of that background. She's trying to think what the word is, but she's doing stuff that is more an instrument than vocals.
Yeah.
But that's wonderful.
But yeah, one of my favourite. What's coming in a minute is one of my favourite bits on the whole album. They do it a couple of times, but it's just like just a little kind of rhythmic device they do, and a little hi-hat bit. Let it come in, comes in here,
sure.
here. It's and then Renegade breaking down the barricade, dung, 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 oh, and the fucking vocal going up with it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so fucking
That's
cool.
nice. That is nice.
So cool. And they do it a little bit later with that kind of fashion is something so ugly. It has to be changed.
Oh, and in that bit as well, everything else drops out. It's just like the vocals and the drums as well. Yeah, it's a great method.
This is one of my favourites on the record, man. In a weird, like it's.
Did you remember this? Like when you were going through, because this is like it's not a single.
Yeah.
So when you were listening through for this, did you instantly go, "Oh, I remember this one"? Because it took me a couple of goes. I went, "I think, oh yeah, this. Oh yeah," and there's bits of it. I went, "I remember that."
Your bits of it come back to me, like
Yeah.
that lyric. Fashion is something so ugly it has to be changed every 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? But style is something versatile, and the way you walk and the way you smile.
Yeah.
I always loved that lyric.
That's a good line.
I always was like, yeah, that's fucking right, man. Changed every 15 minutes. Yeah, brilliant, man. And then that fucking beat.
Bring the funk. Exactly. It's just like Hatham and the drums, but they're building it back towards the end as well. But they take it all right back down to this.
The weird thing is I haven't listened to this album in its entirety for quite a long while.
Yeah, same here, man.
And, I had forgotten. I'd forgotten quite a lot about this. And in my mind, I was like, yes, this is a fucking great album. I'd always had remembered that it was a great album.
Sure.
But I'd forgotten how strongly it's like 5 out of 5. Each one
This is a 13-track album.
Each one as good as the last as well,
So good.
I'm not even saying out of the first 5 tracks, I'm not saying there's one that stands head and shoulders above the other.
Yeah.
But they're all great.
Yeah.
Okay? Any one of them could have been a single. This could have been a single.
Oh, easy. Yeah, easy. I mean, and this is one that I don't remember playing in rock clubs, but I should have done.
Yeah.
Because, like you say, this is one of the most metal riffs on here.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are some choice lines in this, when we're talking about lines that don't work.
Yeah.
I've got, the meaning of the word is vital, that's my recital, gonna make you think a bit. Like, thanks, Hatham. Wicked.
Brilliant.
Cheers. Yeah. And they can't see where or why or what they're going to say when they get asked something fast in a word way. Pardon?
Yeah.
That's it's some good gibberish, but it is gibberish.
Look, I'm going to give him. Look, he's got a lot of lyrics to fill.
Mate,
in.
this is. And this one, I think there's. Like, it's all different chords. Sometimes in some of the songs he goes back and does a verse again, like reprise or something like that. This is all fresh, every single bit.
Mm-hmm. And look, man, the God Rakim, we allow him. We allow him
mate.
fish.
Fish, my favourite dish.
Yeah,
of
we
course.
allow him that, man.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. There's a bit of this actually where they do take on their views on religion and organised religion, where it says. A wish on a dish or a coin on a plate is no ticket to heaven or any such state. I like that. A wish on a dish or a coin on a plate.
Yeah, that's
it's
great,
nice.
man.
It rolls. It really does roll off.
Mm-hmm. Those little double rhymes, little double cups. Yeah, brilliant, man. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a great track.
Yeah, no, totally.
Okay,
Right, so yeah,
next
5 tracks in.
Okay,
fucking bargains.
Next one is One Touch, One Bounce.
Okay. And this is the first instrumental that we have on here.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of the things that does make sense or different to, if we're talking about, if we're trying to put them as rap rock or something like that. they also have this side to them. So it does make them different to a lot of the bands that you would lump in with that.
Yeah. So what we've got is it's a very dubby instrumental.
Yeah.
We've got what I think is generally referred to as found sounds.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Sampled in. We've got processed samples. It's, I guess if you were looking for a way to like contextualize it with better known albums, it's a little bit like something that the Beastie Boys might do on Check Your Head.
Very much so. There's a couple of bits where I think, they've listened to Check Your Head.
Yeah, 100%. Look, this is absolutely fine. I'm not sure it adds much to the album, and what it does do is it knocks the relentless pace off. Now, maybe that's a deliberate thing, and the idea is, well, how much can you take?
Yeah.
At this point, so here's something like. But the answer for me was then and is now a bit more still.
Please, sir.
Yeah, exactly. So this for me, I don't hate it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even dislike it. But I'm not after everything being so good. I fully understand. It's like you've got this other dimension to what you do.
Yeah.
Here you are, but this is kind of where I start going. The humours are out of place a little bit.
I see, okay.
The humours are a little bit out of place, it's... Anyway.
I do think that this is a deliberate thing. I think this is like a palate cleanser after the first 5.
I think that's
It's
right.
also... it's the last track on side 2 of the double vinyl, so it's perhaps like, all right, look, here's the first part of the journey over... Calm down. Have a wee bit of a chill. This is like just a little, puddle of calm after the full-on assault.
I don't have a major issue with this one at all. It's 3 minutes, this one.
Exactly. It's a short one, no problems. And I reckon as well, because they were, whenever they were hanging out with Eat Static and Banco de Gaia or whatever, and I reckon they probably did a lot more of this, back in the day.
Yeah.
And so they don't want to necessarily totally lose that identity. And there's probably a couple of members of the band who are like, no, we really want to do some of this stuff that we were into at the start. Fine.
And, you can, if you look at Lateralus, which is one of my favourite albums, how is this particularly different to like Triad or Reflection, one of those tracks
yeah.
that you've got on the back end of that? It's, it's just, for me, I'm not... jury's out on
I have said, I think this is, again, perfectly fine, possibly unnecessary, but I appreciate what it's doing, I think. I see their point that they are just going, all right, everyone have a fucking sit down.
And if it was the only time they did it,
it'd
be a different conversation.
Fair, okay, all right.
Okay, so, track number 7.
So, we are kind of halfway-ish through. So, track 7 is called Stubborn.
So big power chord now. So that's not a thrashy riff. That's a kind of a big like.
I'm getting like Sabbath, Monster Magnet, that sort of
stoner
thing.
rock, spacey. Yeah, that kind of psychedelic end of spacey stoner rock. Yeah, very much got some samples in there.
Yeah, exactly. You still got you got that, but you've still got the DJ kind of putting some bits in, and Haggis putting some production bits in.
So this is nice, and then we're gonna just drop from here.
Building. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, there you are. Dropping at this little familial chug here, right? We got Hatham, he's rocking his little tongue strips, man. He's even tripping the tongue like Dicky Dicky Das FX. I mean, look, I love the feel of this. I love how expansive this is.
It's big. It's very melodramatic as well.
Yeah. When you talk about showing other sides, this is what like lyrically, it's a lot more kind of theoretical, border in its scope.
It seems like he's almost taking on a character rather than being himself and telling you the message. He's telling a story.
Yeah. So, and I think rather than fitting in with that kind of rap rock paradigm, this is a lot closer in that kind of art rocky kind of paradigm that was around at the time, which leans more into Tool, Rollins Band, Jane's Addiction. And this is, if you want the easiest touchstone to get to Lodestar is this track.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Lodestar was very much
An
like
extension
this,
of
but
this.
kind of without.
Right.
You know, he didn't really rap in Lodestar.
Right, it's more this sort of style.
He sung rhythmically, but yeah, it was very much like this. And
But
I really like his voice.
But I think the Rollins Band thing that you mentioned there is definitely apt on this one. And I know that they were fans. They toured with them in 95, I think, in the States.
Yeah.
And so that they were definitely into that kind of shit. And that makes a lot of sense to me.
See, I think this is super underrated, this one. I think this is a brilliant track.
I had entirely forgotten about this.
Yeah,
I had completely forgotten about this. And it's, you know, it doesn't stand, it's not got that really fast riff, it's not in your face, it's a lot slower than some of those other ones, but it's still, you know, as heavy because it's, you know, pounding. There is a bit where this kind of the no does remind me a little bit of Voodoo. Body count, you know, the comedy. My eye, bitch. But no, this on re-listens, this song stood out to me because it's a little bit different, and because I wasn't so used to it, and it wasn't just like, oh, I remember this. But this is fantastic.
See, I think there's an alternate universe somewhere where Lodestar doesn't exist, like Chasing Demons era. Censor doesn't exist, and we get a second Censor record which leans more in this direction.
Oh, I see. Wow, right.
And you know, I can't help but say that's a path for them being a festival headliner.
Well, that's the thing, because they broke up in '95 after doing the Rollins tour. They also toured with Skunk and Nancy, I think, in that year, and they were asked by Moby to support him in the States. And they broke up after that because musical differences, and they've been touring for years, and they all were just like, you know, fuck it. So it splintered, and it kept some people in Censor, some people in Lodestar. But you're right, if you'd been able to skip that, let's say they had gone on tour with Tool, for example, and everyone had been like, yeah, this is wicked, and they'd made an album after that, that maybe this is what they would.
I really do think this is a band that they were so ahead of their time in so many different ways.
Yeah.
And like, you know, there's, you know, I know there's elements of Grebo in here, and Grebo had its heyday a few years before, but I think there is a progressiveness to what they're doing. And when you go, they broke up the same year that Korn put out their first record.
Oh, right, yeah, true.
Actually, did they?
95.
94 was the first Korn record. But they broke up as new metal was hitting.
Yeah.
And
wait, that's Deftones there.
Yeah, that's Deftones.
That's
I mean, you know, seeing a band like System of a Down go on to be as big as they were, they had a place in this conversation. They did.
But they never would have been fully in it because I think Haytham especially would have been, now we're more like, or we always wanted to have more bits like Gunshot and New Kingdom and really hip hop bits.
I'm not saying that they've ever assumed that kind of mantle, but I don't know, like with, you know, you can bear in mind that, you know, 96 Anima comes out.
Yeah.
You know, and transforms the audience for that kind of stuff. You know, you've got King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime. You've got all of this stuff that embraces expensive. And yes, it wasn't the biggest selling stuff of its time, but if they could have sat and just built and formulated that fan base, I think they could have been you know, they could have been a headliner.
Well, they were on the way up. They really were. You know, this album comes out, it's number 4 in the charts. They are playing bigger and bigger slots and festivals. Like I say, 93, they were on the Melody Maker stage at Reading. 94, they were main stage halfway through the day. 95, they would have been second or third from top on those big festivals. After another big album, then the world's your oyster. It is unfortunate that they went 2 different ways, and neither album really caught on with the general public.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anyway, well, it is what it is. We can't play a game of maybes. All we can talk about is what we've got, and that is a brilliant song. Thank God we got it. Next track is track number 8. This is called Door Game.
Right. Oh, there's your flute.
Yeah, we got flute.
And this is the longest song on the album by quite a way. This is like
650.
640, yeah.
Okay, 640. So, yeah, and obviously we're going to drop in a second. We've got this housey kind of trancey,
a much more straightforward dance beat.
Yeah, and this one clearly harks into the sound system, new age vibes of the time, the world that they were living in, the kind of this pre-world.
Yeah,
it's not really my cup of tea.
No, I wouldn't have thought this would be one of the ones you'd be like, oh, fucking this one. I remember really liking this at the time.
Okay.
I do. And again, I don't know whether it was just because I wanted to like Censor, but I really enjoyed the fact that they were doing other stuff on the album. And so when something like this came along, I was like, I do like this song.
See, I don't. I don't really like this. That ding, 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 ding. That it kind of grates me a little bit.
Yeah.
And, you know, look, I adore Hytham. I would say Hytham is one of my favourite frontmen of all time.
Lovely.
Of all time, you know, he's up there, you know, with Maynard James Keenan, Mike Patton,
Brilliant.
like kind of big names, but I mean, I cannot let that go.
The roots and culture.
Roots and culture.
Roots and culture, mate.
Yeah.
But he's not just talking about one, he's talking about both.
It's like country and western.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, there's a lot of that. There's the, you know, there's the.
We'll get to the
Diane King, Shy Guy. Fucking hell, follow me.
And this bit, I do think this is Kirsten doing a very kind of ordinary dance vocal. Like this could be transposed into any 90s chart dance song.
Yeah, this is very much as if you've ever seen the comedian Rob Deering, this is very much a woman saying something.
Absolutely, yeah. But I like I do think the full track, I think it works. I think this is a good dance track in a very, very crusty Grievel way.
This is 100% a skip for me every time.
Oh, right, okay.
I don't.
To me, this is almost like some of the Orb tracks, some of those early kind of underworldy tracks.
Yeah, the problem I think is you have to buy that
Sure.
and I find it quite grating.
Do you? Okay.
I don't like the patois on it. I think, like as you say, I think a lot of this is quite ordinary. Really,
you don't like Zig and or Zag doing it?
I mean, exactly that. That's I hadn't made that note, and now you've said it. I can never hear this again. Yeah.
Because it just is, isn't it?
The girls will love me. Zagamuffin.
Oh man. It was a very different time.
Yeah, I mean, what does that say? Very much a different time. I've written that there. This is a skip for me. I can
Sure.
see that you're.
I'm cool with it.
I'm a little surprised because you've kind of got a bit of a dubby hatred generally.
Sure, but But this is enough on the dance side of that.
Yeah.
That I'm okay with it.
Okay.
Yeah, mate. If they took all the 4/4 hi-hat bits out and it was just the bass, I was like, probably not. And some people would much prefer that.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I would find that dull. There is a bit. I mean, to me, this is the fucking pure distillation of 1994 crusties, right? This is Stone Circle at Glastonbury.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with it.
And again, that's why I'm surprised you like it.
Oh no, I don't. I hate all of the people. I hate every single person who would be dancing to this, and fucking shoeless jugglers
smelling of patchouli oil.
Oh yeah, twats a lot of them. But I'm okay with this. I'm the only one that's allowed to like this.
And I knew loads of those people, and they were I had a good time with a lot of those people. Man.
Sure.
They were nice people. Like up to a point where you had to kind of switch off the conversation.
Oh God, yeah.
I knew a guy called Eggy who was part of the Exodus Collective.
Amazing, yeah.
And he got hit by a car.
Oh.
And he lay in the middle of the road, and he didn't call for an ambulance. He called for Jar.
Fuck me, pink.
He
God.
literally lay there, having been hit by a car, going, Jar, come save me.
That sounds like the setup to a really shit joke. That's actually what happened.
That is actually what happened.
Fuck me.
In the end, St John's ambulance. No, I don't.
St John's ambulance.
Yeah, St John's ambulance.
Oh man.
He's like, check.
This bit, he's okay. He's doing this, and this is fine.
Yeah.
I do get the impression that he went too fast for himself. At one point, he trips over his words, and they were like, "Oh fuck it, I'm not redoing it. Just keep that bit in. It's fine."
Yeah. See this? 6 minutes 50, and come on, I don't need that flute there.
Oh mate, it's an absolute stereotype. Sure it is. Yeah. I don't think it needs to be that long. You're absolutely right. But all of these songs were. If you went and saw, let's say, Eat Static, you're not going to see a song that's less than 15 minutes long.
I don't think there's any world where removing this track doesn't improve this record.
That's the thing. If it wasn't on there, I wouldn't miss it. I wouldn't go, I wish there was a really long dance track somewhere in here. But because it was part of it and I was listening to this loads at the time, it got in there and I'm okay, it's fine.
Hi boys, it's Cy Sharp of Beat Rehab. Really excited that you're covering Stacked Up by Censor. It's an album that really seems to have been forgotten a bit in the intervening years. My story with Censor, they released Eject, and that became a massive hit in my local indie club, The Loft in Guildford. It was just perfect. We were all into Rage Against the Machine and were waiting for the next big rap rock act. We thought maybe this was the beginning of the greatest subgenre ever known. Turns out we weren't entirely correct about that, and we were still 7 years away from Butterfly by Crazy Town. Stacked Up itself, I love it. I think what makes it memorable, a lot of it is down to their origins in the free party scene, which was arguably the most important counterculture at that time. So musically, you have that mix of influences from that scene, things like dub, house music, chill out, indie. They seem to neatly sidestep folk, which is probably a good thing. But that scene was also a protest movement. So when they weren't partying, they were protesting and clashing with police and the BMP and that sort of stuff. So even though the style in which they articulate the anger is American in terms of the rapping, but the causes they champion were completely British. Rap rock since then has been all about adopting the style, but this was about adopting hip-hop as a medium for demanding change, and that anger is there. So yeah, also quick shout-out for Kirsten singing along Hyper's rapping. I can't think of any other female singers in hip-hop at that time. Obviously, there's plenty of female rappers, but that seemed to be quite new. But yeah, Stacked Up. Love it. Cheers, boys.
Let's do track number 9.
Okie dokie.
This one is called Peanut Head. I've got a different name for it myself.
Oh.
Because I think you may as well call this one the Beastie Boys one.
You really should, yeah. This is the one where I was like, they listened to Check Your Head and heard the kind of the funk instrumentals they were doing on there and went, if we put some rapping over that instrumental, which is not the point, it's supposed to be just this thing. But yeah, this is a sleazy 70s porno funk track.
I don't think they acknowledge it, because you've got the beat, the first lyric,
Here to Manhattan.
Here to Manhattan, that's,
Yep.
But you got the beat, the funky guitars, and the flute. That's Beastie Boys.
Isn't it, though? It so is.
So lyrically, this is a anti-gun culture screed.
It is, yes.
And if you're talking about hip-hop culture at this time, it's pretty relevant.
Sure.
Because this is the exact fulcrum point where hip-hop has given way, really. By this point, it's given way from the conscious kind of pro-black power, kind of Panther-esque messaging that's coming, empowerment messaging that was coming from like Public Enemy and stuff like that. And we've been through...
Well, even the De La Soul, which is like the poppy stuff, and then Love Everyone, the self-empowerment.
Well, Afrocentric stuff from Tribe and all the native stuff. But NWA have hit big, and people have started to go, oh, this is a bit of this that sells. Kind of missing the point, because a lot of NWA was quite ironically...
Sure, but then as soon as Dre went off and did The Chronic...
But yeah, and as soon as that whole kind of gangster thing... And, they were, in the UK it was a different thing, but if you went out to an American record shop around this time, there were walls and walls of gangster rap tapes at this point. It was everywhere. And, that gangsterism, like it just taken over everything, and it ultimately led to the kind of the more jiggy stuff, which was, where... I've never parted ways with hip-hop, but that was where the separation started for me.
Yeah, sure. But so you can, yes, absolutely. This is a topic that is ripe for examination in 1994. I get that. But no, I think this is just a bit limp.
I mean, I think it's a cool, noodly little track. It's a little bit long. I quite like the jammy vibe on this. I quite like the fact that it's a little bit jam roomy and stuff. So I'll forgive it its flaws. I think it's quite interesting that they kind of got that. They do the scratched Flav sample.
As
Used by NWA.
All right. Okay. Sure. It's there are elements. I think it's a really nice drum beat.
Yeah.
They're going for that sort of 70s funk vibe. I think I've talked about the Mac Avenue Skull Game album by Big Chief, which is again 1993. Loads of just white guys doing 70s funk, and it's fantastic. I think that's what they're going for. They're going for that. They're going for the Beastie Boys thing. But there's not enough for me. There's not enough of a funky bass going on.
I think
it's not big enough for me. And just the putting your guitar through a wah-wah. It sounds like they're trying also to do Heavy Ram Experience, the brand new heavies.
Or like Jazzmatazz.
That sort of stuff. But it just sounds. It doesn't quite hit for me.
Sure, but here, man. That's really nice.
Oh, mate. Again, there are elements that do get there, but it doesn't all hang together. And it also just sounds a bit tinny to me.
Look, I understand what you're saying, right? I don't mind this one, right?
Sure.
And I think I quite like your guns ain't no wicked, your bullets ain't no wicked. I quite like that little chorus which holds it together for me.
Yeah.
It's not a classic on the track, and it is very much. It sits in this kind of central space of this album that, I think is the thing that prevents this album from, being the 100% nailed on classic that it could be.
Right, okay.
But, of the 4 tracks that sit in the middle of it, this is probably one of the ones I like. I prefer.
You do,
so
right.
I like that little guitar just kind of going for a little noodle there.
Sure.
I quite like the jammy thigh. It's very much a definition of an album track.
Yeah, I mean, I've said, for me, this is like a 5 out of 10, which is not bad, but it's not great. But I do give it an extra point for the line, they should have raised you better, you little bedwetter, which is, again, just one of those thrown in lines, like, it's so out of place.
Yeah.
It's like...
You're a little bit wet.
I love it.
But, if it's this or One Touch, One Bounce, or it's this or Door Game,
I say you'd be...
I'm taking this,
Fine. Okay.
Anyway, right, so let's do track number 10.
Track number 10, okay. So that is called Peace. Oh.
So, okay, we've got a spacey, ethereal, kind of pretty, and, by virtue of the bass, dubby.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Again, what are your thoughts on this one?
I mean, it's very obviously, again, another of the Spiral Tribe, Ozric Tentacles thing. I have fond memories of this because it reminds me of other stuff, like even the chart stuff like The Beloved, right? And Opus 3 and those kind of early 90s dance ones, which I liked, I really enjoyed. This is, to me, a nice, chill... again, a step back and a sit down, and I know it comes across maybe a bit pure mudes at times, fine, but I do like this.
Yeah, see, this is several stages to Yoga Mat for me.
Fine, yeah, I get it.
Again, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, I got you. 6 minutes, no.
Yeah, no, this is nearly 6 minutes.
So,
but again, this surely is the band going, all right, Kirsten, what do you want to do? Here's one for you.
Well, that's exactly what that is, and that comes back into my point where you go. You've got these personalities at war with each other to some degree, and it's the humours need to be aligned for it to work at its optimum.
Right.
And when there's so much of it at its best on this record, when it's not, it shows. I mean, I look at the middle of this record, and this is nearly 6 minutes long.
Yes,
You've got
it is.
6 minutes. You've got 6 minutes of Door Game. You've got I mean, if you want to include Peanut Head in that as well, that's 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So you've got nearly 15-20 minutes worth of filler sat in the middle of what was one of the paciest starts to a record I've ever had.
Oh, entirely, yeah.
And it's I understand wanting to change the mood, but this is for me. There's just too much of it in the middle.
Sure, but I think this is what happens when you have 7 people in the band and a 5-year at least career of writing songs.
Oh no,
and,
I completely
and
understand.
And you don't have someone who goes, no.
Yeah, and this is you know, obviously this album is a beautiful sentiment for collectivism. You know, so many of the lyrical themes around it are about that. And I love those themes. I love, you know, that kind of, you know, the idea of unity and collectivism and eschewing government and, you know, kind of fucking corporations and all of that kind of stuff. All the things that we need to learn how to do to function better, right? So it's a... I understand that it's a little bit of a contradictory criticism to include that in there. However, from the point of view of how this album runs, how it's sit in the pantheon objectively, looking back on it, I think if you wipe that stuff out, you create something that is very, very, very difficult to argue with. And I think there is a less is more sentiment, and if you remove these albums, I think this record, we wouldn't be having a conversation about this being a little bit of a lost classic. We'd be talking about this being a record that everyone owns.
Maybe so. Yeah, maybe so.
You know, because it would have found its audience over time.
I agree that stuff like this would put some people off. You know, if it was on in the background, you would be up, go, oh, what's this? And then you'd be like, oh no, it's all right, I'll leave this. If you weren't into it, I get that for sure. And you would also have a record that wasn't double vinyl.
Yeah. You know, look, you and me know, man. You and me, we're at a music festival, 2023.
Yeah.
You walk into a tent just to see what's going on. This is playing. We walk out immediately.
Absolutely straight away. Yeah, exactly. Oh, this is, you know, it's Eat Static doing prog rock, is it? No, pass. That massive solo.
Yeah.
Nah, fine. Again, I don't mind it, but I wouldn't miss it.
See, I don't remember having any of these criticisms of this record at the time.
Yeah.
So I think I was a lot more open to that stuff.
On a lot more drugs.
Well, I mean, I wasn't on a lot more drugs back then. I mean, fucking these days, I mean, I'm not on any drugs at all. I'm not even allowed to take my ADHD meds.
God damn it.
It's a pain in the fucking balls.
Fuck the government.
Yeah, fuck the government. Anyway, so that's that. Nearly 6 minutes long, right?
Okay.
So I'm like a little bit... So you get to that point, we're just on track 10.
Yeah, so that's track 10 of 13. So we're kind of towards the back end of it.
But then, track 11 is Eject.
And my God. My good God.
So look, this is the one that kicks off. So we start off, we've got this little kind of airy, lovely bit.
Yeah.
You know, again, in that world that we were just in a little bit, so I understand a bit of a transition there.
But
pick slide.
Yeah. Fuck me.
Quite simply, one of the best rap rock songs of all time.
Oh, easily.
Right?
Easily.
Right? Hang on. 1, 2, 3. You can sue me for malpractice.
Yes. Oh, the amount of times I shouted that line in my local club. Yeah.
I can't believe I fucked that up. Anyway, but the fucking delivery of that, man. These little triplets, the little way he puts us, all of the lyrics in this song. Look,
that guitar.
That guitar's amazing. This ratchet punk rock snare, man.
Oh,
that like really,
gorgeous.
Like, you know, it's a punk rock snare. It's really underproduced and it's beautiful.
Yeah, well, this bit when there's that's just like pure punk, bam, 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 non-stop.
This is like a hardcore break.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Kirsten doing a weird breathy sex noise.
Yeah. No, so this was obviously the first one that both of us heard.
Yeah.
Blew my mind. And Hytham's just coming out of the gate fully formed.
Mate, bang.
I was like, wow, who's that fucker? And I must admit, at the time, watching the video, and you just see Kirsten coming in, doing that stuff, and I fancied the pants off that woman. Oh my God, I was like well into this fucking scary woman.
Nice.
Brilliant.
Let you flow and let the colour fly. This fucking chorus is brilliant. And then listen, straight in.
Kicks off another notch up. Yeah. But this does not stop. It doesn't give up. For the first 2 verses, it does not fucking stop.
Mate, it's just fucking in your face, pound in. Just, I still feel every bit as strongly about this song now as I did when I first heard it 30 years ago.
Yep.
You know, heard this in a club, was like, what the fuck is this? I still hear it, I'm like, what? How good is this?
Yeah.
Go!
And it's definitely, if someone said to you, oh, I don't know Censor, recommend me a song, it's always going to be this. every time I'm going to say this is as a calling card for a band. This is brilliant.
All I check is, all I see is this. Conditioning.
Again, I've said that line millions of times in my life.
I mean, some lyrics in this, man. I mean, like, come on to the next word. Talk like a sitcom. Eat your whopper. I won't be another happy shopper.
Wonderful.
That's
Wonderful.
That's one of the most quintessentially.
But that bit. Don't pull the wool over my eyes, you wool puller.
Look, we all run out of lyrics sometimes, right? And it's one of the best fucking lyrics on it.
Oh, mate, if I had the chance to go back in a time machine and change it, I would destroy that time machine because no way.
Exactly.
No way is that getting redone.
Exactly, mate. Like, it's one of those things that it's perfect in its imperfection.
Oh, exactly. And it's so very English. It's very British, but it's very, very English.
Eat your whopper. I won't be another happy shopper. And that, again, quintessentially English.
Oh, yeah,
right?
exactly. Walker Tate or any of the US people, if you're listening, Happy Shopper is a... Is it still
I don't know.
I'm not sure. It was a shop. It was a brand of a shop.
Yeah, and it was a budget food brand.
Budget, yeah.
Basically, there were a chain of wholesalers called Nerdin and Peacock.
Oh God!
And it was their kind of
their Tesco value.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, Happy Shopper. So yeah, I won't be another Happy Shopper. That's why everyone's like, I won't be another Happy Shopper. We get it. Oh mate.
But do you not think that track 11 is a weird place to bury this track?
Oh, hugely.
It's a bizarre thing.
Yeah. What is your view on this bit?
I love this bit.
Do you? I always thought that this could have been cut down. I thought there's a minute or so of just this happening.
Oh, I love this because you're just waiting.
Oh yes,
you're waiting for the drop.
Of course, because you know it. If you know the song, you know it's coming. But it should be there. It could be there. It doesn't need to be like a minute of this. Yeah. Now I remember dancing to this in clubs and going, "Oh yeah, I've got a minute of sort of treading water for waiting for it."
I've never had a problem with this bit.
Right. And again, it could come in there.
Yeah.
No, she's off again. Yeah.
She's off again. You daft sexist.
Yeah. So that's it.
I do know what you mean. I do know what you mean. But
and finally, here we go.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Amazing.
Here before me, all I check is all I see. Here before me, all I check is all I see. All I check is all I see is all I check is all I see is this.
Conditioning.
What a fucking
amazing
tune! And then straight away.
No, hold on. You said you were going to ask me something from Cliff.
Oh no, Cliff. What did Cliff say to me? That's a good.
About you said eject.
It was what Cliff asked me, and tell me this, right? Because I didn't have an answer for it.
Yeah.
Am I imagining it, or when Sensors Eject first came out, did it have a sample of "For You" by Prince in the intro? It's not on the album version. Now I don't remember it because I swear there's an "All of This and More" sample in there.
I see. I don't know off the top of my head. I have the 12-inch there. We can quickly play it and come back with an answer.
Yeah.
That's it. Is it? Is that the print?
I think it is, yeah.
Right. Well.
There you go. Right. Yeah. So we've just gone away and put the 12-inch on.
Yep.
On Chris's one of Chris's 1210s.
Yes,
and,
indeed.
Yes, Cliff, you are right. There is
absolutely.
Well done, mate. Good fucking spot because I never ever picked up on that.
Well, I knew there was a difference between the single version and the album version, but I thought it was more just like general production. I thought the single was a bit rawer, a bit rougher, and they re-recorded it for the album. But no, that's definitely one of the main differences. Right at the very intro, there's a Prince sample on the original 12. Nicely done. Right, cool. Now we know. And I'll tell you what else, right? I read an interview with Haytham.
Yeah.
And he was talking about just, the album in general, but Eject specifically at a point. big long quote I'm going to go through. I know I was really influenced by a British hip-hop group called Gunshot. I loved the syncopation of what they were doing. I just wanted to do something like that. I loved Gunshot and Public Enemy. I wanted to do my own thing. There were a few people like Silver Bullet doing that really fast hip-hop sound. We wanted to do it with guitars. I remember suggesting that kind of riff to Nick, who's the guitarist.
Yeah.
And literally about 10 years later, my friend Maynard from Tool, which is like, that's a heavy name.
Bang!
Drop.
Oh, I climbed all
My
over the floor.
friend Maynard from Tool said, oh yeah, I used to love Motley Crue. They were one of the first bands to do those riffs on the upstroke. And then he sang a Motley Crue song.
Yeah.
And Hytham was like, oh, I was like, fuck, Jesus, you're right. So yeah, Eject is basically the riff from Livewire.
Yeah.
I must have heard it and it got absorbed somewhere along the line. I do like that kind of glam stuff a lot more in retrospect. We used to laugh at all that stuff at the time, and now, well, Rat is a good band. Great songwriting, and I won't hear a bad word said about them.
Nice.
So there's a bit of an interview. And I was like, fucking what? Motley Crue? And here's Livewire by Motley Crue. And I can hear what he's saying, but it's not exactly. But here's Livewire.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Sure. I mean, it's a kind of almost a generic rock riff at that point. But
Yeah, but I think he's talking about the way he's picking it, though, isn't he?
Yeah, indeed. There you go. So Motley Crue inspiring Censor Eject. Fuck me. There you go.
Hello, it's Niall from the Zeros here, and I have one simple truth to tell you. If this time 30 years ago you were not at least once a week beating the shit out of each other to eject on a dance floor, you were going to the wrong discos. It was such an excoriating bolt of lightning of a tune. And looking back and thinking about how they were playing the video for that on the chart show, essentially kids' TV on a Saturday morning, and they're playing this absolutely mad, dark, heavy, anti-fascist, anti-capitalist anthem. Such a different time back then to now. So a lot was riding on that. We were all holding our breath to see, did they have an album's worth in them? And oh my God, when they played Age of Panic and No Comply on the Naked City in the June of '94, I was like, okay, this is a band with a lot to say, and a hell of a way to say it. It saddens me that music didn't keep going in that direction, that all too soon after that, the happy clappy Blairite era of Britpop completely knocked things like this out of the way. But as an artifact, I think that album is timeless. I think the lyrics are just as important now as they were back then, and the music sounds so fresh, so good. So, yep, you got a big, big fan of that album here. Keep doing what you're doing, Krista and Dave. Thanks for having me on.
All right, so no, Eject, still fucking brilliant, I think is the consensus.
I mean,
there.
Eject
Still wonderful.
absolutely fucking superb.
Good. Right, so we're near the end, to be honest. That's track 11. We've only got 2 left to go.
Okay.
Track 12 is No Comply.
And here comes the thrash.
Well, yeah.
Come on.
And this was the double A side with the keys.
Yeah,
so,
man, and I listened to this so much.
Did you?
I mean, I just bumped this because it was all I had, you know?
Okay, sure. Yeah,
and this is just a fucking blaze, man. That little just kind of... So well to be an idiot, I almost became every word that you said.
This is by far the shortest song. It's 2 minutes 40. This is in and out.
Yeah.
But it's like a straight ahead just metal song.
I just think this is an extraordinary genre highlight, this track.
Okay, yeah.
I just think it's fucking brilliant. This has got some of the best lyrics.
I mean,
just that fucking, when I stand with a mic in my hand, I level the land. The fucking brilliant, man.
I mean, it's just, when he's angry, he's fucking raging.
I care nothing about your troops with your big black boots.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With a mic in my hand, I level the land. Because I'm in the man. Fucking, I love it, man. Your BMP, you ain't shit to me.
Yeah.
Proud mixed Britain, proud of my ancestry. Has there been a better lyric?
That's wonderful. It's great.
In a fucking hip hop track. It's fucking glory.
I
so
don't give
angry.
a fuck about Combat 18.
Why should I? And the whole thing's named after a skateboard trick.
What? No Comply?
Yeah, No Comply is a skate trick.
Is it?
Yeah.
I did not know that. Okay. All right. This is... They were very publicly supportive of, you know, the Anti-Fascist League and that sort of stuff at the time. They were very behind all those things. Obviously they were. And this is probably the most overt manifestation of that on the album. It's because it's punchy, but it's nothing else but fuck the far right.
Yeah, yeah.
Just fuck the far right. And this is just as well that there's no far right cunts around these days.
Yeah, exactly. But this fucking little beat down into this fucking pace change. Whip, 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 there, but I'm like a man. I love the land. I was at a talk of the big command. I give nothing but the troops and the big black boats. And then fighting them was a paramilitary crew. You don't scare me. Mess with the posse and I'm... So let them have the fucking...
The posse. Oh, yeah, that's okay.
I said a check. So I can blow it, yeah.
Okay, right, okay. Fair enough.
This is fucking brilliant. This is just a piece of me, this one.
I say, this is very much it, because to me, this is definitely, if we're talking about just the single tracks, so the 5 tracks that were on singles, this is the weakest one of them for me.
Not for me.
But no, you're very into it.
I fucking love this track, lad. But the thing is, you got a caveat with the fact that I heard eject. I couldn't have eject. I didn't have eject. I had this.
I see. Okay.
And I fucking killed it. I listened to that. It just set it up on repeat on my CD player, on my old Sanyo CD player.
Nice.
And I would just blast it over and over and over again.
Fair. No, of course. Yeah. Absolutely brilliant.
Okay, so look, last track on the album.
Yep, we are at track number 13, and it's called Worth. Mm-hmm. And yeah, this is what's going to play us out. And I find this a very strange one.
Look, man, the fact that last track finished on that really hard, aggressive beat, back to track, back to track, that back.
Boom.
That's a hard stop.
Yep.
And they started this album so well.
Uh-huh.
And for me, you finish it on that hard stop. This...
Yeah, no,
This is, it's dub with sample vocals having a little conversation. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's absolutely fine. It's dated itself, I think, quite badly. And I just do not understand why you put this at the end.
No. This is the only reasons I'm giving are exactly the same reasons as before. Like, somebody wanted to, and nobody said no.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. And so,
because everyone gets a vote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, that's great, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
But sometimes the best decisions don't get made by committee.
Well, quite. Yeah. I mean, to me, this is like Lemon Jelly, Groove Armada, or The Orbits, that sort of chill out stuff. And yes, look, remember back then, chill out rooms were a thing in clubs.
Yeah,
you people were making music almost specifically to be played in the chill out room of a house club. Mm-hmm. And this, I can see, probably got played in there. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it kind of tails the album off in a very strange way for me.
Yeah, no. For me, let's talk about the album. I mean,
sure,
we got a lot of feedback actually.
But you're right. We did have quite a few people get in contact with us, so it seems to have definitely sparked a lot of memories with some of our listeners. Mm-hmm. With also a couple of people coming to it sort of fresh-ish as well, which is nice.
Stephen Hill did.
Stephen Hill, yeah, indeed. Let's start. We got Big Jim Tartan on Twitter. Who hadn't heard this before, but checked it out knowing that we were going to be doing the episode. And he said, fucking hell, this Censor album, first half is absolutely ridiculous. Mixture of Curve, Science era, Incubus, Urban Dance Squad, Suicidal Tendencies, but with an MC that has delivery more like Chuck D.
Mm-hmm. That's a very, very good summation.
It is. I am so chuffed that you liked it. It's lovely to know that someone missed something at the time and has now gone, oh, I'll check it out because these guys say it's good, and is like, oh, it is.
Yeah, and it's also good that that people can come back to it, because sometimes when you're going back to something that you missed at the time, and I've talked about this with Grebo a little bit. Yeah. You've missed your moment. If you're not there, you're not in the actual moment of it. It's kind of past and something else has replaced it for
absolutely.
You. So I'm really, really glad. I'm so glad you got something out of it, mate.
Indeed, nice one, James.
Stephen McDade.
Yes,
the
right.
soundtrack to a sunny, fun-filled end of my first year at uni when I should have been studying. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, from States of Mind to What's Going On still excites. Slight wee dip in the middle before eject and no comply will lift you right back up again. Also, Dave, having already seen Helmet here in New Zealand in April, I'm finally going to catch Quicksand when they tour this way in December.
Nice.
Fucking, you are an absolute hero of mine, Stephen McDade.
I mean, he also he's added on there, I played this to the lads in the band recently on a road trip, and they thought it was a brand new release. It's timeless.
Perfect.
Fucking there. That's wonderful, isn't it? We got Ron KMC on Twitter. I love this album. One of those genre-defying albums that still sounds exciting and fresh nearly 30 years later. And I think it does. I think it genuinely does. There are bits we discussed that sound dated, and there were some bits I went, that is pure 1994, of course. But in general, I think so much of that still stands up.
I agree completely. Mark Anderson at Chedinsky22. Great album. Absolutely rinsed it back in the day. Listened to it recently and reckoned for the most part still stands out. Shout out to Hytham and John's immense Lodestar side project. Absolutely. He says definitely a lost classic. Cannot agree with that.
There you
more.
go.
Definitely recommend give that a spin at some point.
Fair play. Lloyd Wright is quality album. Not one that I actually listened to at the time, but I knew quite a few of the songs from them getting played in the clubs. Wasn't until much later I gave it a listen to and loved it. Almost got it took me so long. And yeah, no, of course, because why wouldn't you want to have this in your life as long as possible?
Absolutely, mate. Sensor Band, don't know who they are, said, sounds great.
Sounds great, Dave. Well done. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
It does sound great, Sensor Band. Well done. Phil Guthrie. I love the singles a lot, but somehow had never actually owned this album. Put it on this afternoon, and my word, it's good, except for the flute. Nobody outside of an orchestra needs a flute. Well, the Beastie Boys would disagree with you.
Sure. And right, Phil is one of my oldest friends from school. I know Phil. He was in orchestras. I think that boy played a tuba or something.
Oh, nice. Well, we're not having that from you then, Phil. You can't hide your woodwind past.
Yeah, quite. Don Morrissey. Love this album. The Key is a great single, but I think they're best when they go fucking mental, like on No Comply.
I'm with you,
he's
Dom.
in your camp.
Yeah, I'm with you. Sean O'Toole.
Yes, Sean.
Sean actually sent me a video of this as well. I used to love hearing Eject at a local alternative club. Fairly sure that's the only track I heard of theirs. I played Eject on Spotify this evening, and my 4-year-old started dancing like a loon. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Nice. That's
he sent me a video of his, I know his daughter Olive, shout out to Olive, just dancing, and then Sean realising, because he's an old man like us, that he couldn't record and play music at the same time, and him just going... I heard you stopping dead in the tracks, like, what's happened? And he goes, the music stopped. Oh. It is a quality bit of kind of dadding.
That's wonderful. Well done, mate. Walker Tate, our sole US listener, I think, he said, I've never even heard of this. And I replied saying, I think it's going to be up your street. And then he's just replied saying, it's the only rap rock album I've heard with a flute. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, there you go. Horsemeat UK, this album is incredible, and even though you can identify its influences, it very much sits on its own and is unique. Embarrassingly, it took me way too long to realise that his daddy wasn't literally in Wandsworth sitting in a box. There you go, Krista.
Someone else, okay.
That's another one. That's another one in your camp.
Fucking wicked. Ken, Nettleship. All right, Ken. Love this album. Definitely reminds me of sticky dance floors in Luton at club nights that were either called Switch or Eject.
Ironically, yeah.
Yeah, indeed. It's very true. That was kind of where we both were on that.
And then, we got a lovely email from Bradders.
Yes, mate. He's not on Twitter, so he sent us a full email.
Earliest memory of the name is someone telling me they like the British Rage Against the Machine. Now, I like Rage, so did my older sister. The Contrarian team, we felt compelled to seek out my own thing. So the idea of a British version piqued my interest. Mm-hmm. At this point, I sponge for other stuff like Pantera, Stereo MC, Shaman, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Massive Attack, Prodigy. And the relevance of those is by the time anyone finishes a first listen to Stacked Up, they should be well aware that British Rage is a description that doesn't ring true at all. They just happen to be political too. Instead, Stacked Up is this absolute melting pot of euphoric dance, hip-hop, and especially hip-hop with a UK accent, which in 94 is still a novelty to most people. These hard power riffs, which are straight up metal band would love, funky guitars and songs like Peanut Head that sound like they were on a softcore porn soundtrack, these beautiful trippy electronic songs and lyrics that are on the whole somehow both of their time and still relevant now. And I think that's a pretty solid summation
Absolutely.
for it.
That's a lovely look at it.
Yeah, I think I think Bradders is more on your side when it comes to the.
He seems to be pretty okay with the dance ones.
The dancey bits. I'm less a fan, but yeah, there we go. Well, thank you as always, guys, for everyone getting in contact. Big up to Cliff for giving us that excellent bit of trivia on.
Nicely done, Cliff.
On
Smogo.
Eject. Yeah, Smogo. Give him a shout. Check out his podcast Devil Times 5. And yeah,
just got fucking nominated in the Independent Podcast Awards.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. I mean, we should have probably entered ourselves in that.
We should have done.
You're too busy entering yourself.
There we go.
Yeah, so look, let's sum this album up. I think I mean, I don't think it's going to be any great surprise. Where are you at the
moment? I'm so happy that I went back to it and still enjoyed it as much, because in your head, whenever we were going to do this because it's a brilliant album, there's a possibility that you're wrong. There's a possibility it's only rose-tinted glasses and half of it is dog shit.
Look, I'm not going back to Dog Eat Dogs Allborough Kings anytime soon. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. But no, I thoroughly enjoyed this, and the high points are still as high as they ever were for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I've gone back into this. I still think, in its current state, it's a classic album.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think some editing. I think what you've got in there is you've got arguably an 8 or 9 or even 10 track album that is bulletproof.
It's flawless.
It's undeniably perfect. It's an album of the year. It's something that goes in the pantheon. That whatever the critical appraisal of it is at the time, it goes and transcends that. A little bit of editing does that to this record, I believe. And you're talking about one of the best albums of the 90s.
I do remember I was looking through some like old Enemy charts, end of year things, and I mean this was Eject was both Enemy's and Melody Maker's single of the year, I think, which is like, yeah, perfect, brilliant. But I was looking at the, Enemy's top 50 albums or something like that, and this was down maybe number 30 something.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, fine, good. Hey, mate, 94 is a strong year. That's brilliant. Yeah. But some of the other shit, I think both M People albums were in there.
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
What? Fuck, seriously? Come on now. Yeah, so it's bizarre. But no, this to me, this is one of the yes, lost albums of the 90s, but this is one of the great albums. Easily, I imagine when we end up doing our albums of 94, it's going to be tough for me not to have this top 10. I don't know what else is going to be in there because I've not thought about it yet, but it's going to be tough for me not to.
Oh, I would have thought so as well. Look, this is a brilliant album. It's an album that feels like it was, I felt at the time it was written for me.
Right, yeah.
I did. And, I still feel that way now, but, I feel like I'm almost doing faint praise, and I'm not. I don't want to take away from the fact of how much I love this record. I do. I think it's fucking brilliant, but I've just got that little kernel of just a little.
Just cut the tips off here.
It's not for me because we live in a modern age. I can listen to whatever tracks I want.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just going, if that had happened, I just feel like its cultural cachet would just be slightly different. I've just got this feeling that's the case, but what the fuck do I know? I'm an old man now. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us for this self-indulgent trip through a brilliant album. If you haven't listened to this record, do go and check it out, man. If and if you like it or don't like it, let us know.
It's absolutely worth it.
We will be back, I say next week,
Who knows?
Couple of weeks, whenever it is.
We'll give it a go.
Be a couple of weeks with
Erasure. And I say.
And I say it wrong every time. Erasure.
There you go.
I'm going to fuck that up. But guys, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for checking out this episode of Pop Collaborate and Listen. It was produced and edited by us, for which we can only apologise. We're on Twitter at PCL Podcast, on Instagram also at PCL Podcast, and facebook.com/PCL Podcast. All of these, plus links to our various Spotify playlists, etc., are on our website, which is pclpodcast.com. Please feel free to get in contact via any of the social media or on pclmusicpodcast@gmail.com.